outset, I want to express my gratitude for inviting me here, for expressing my admiration, respect, reverence for the giant genius of Dr. Bhyrappa. I am really thankful that you have given me this opportunity. Now, I heard whatever was being said here, and Kannada is Greek and Latin for me. Even then, I got some words and they are applicable. Like somebody said, Himalaya solution. That is really pertinent. I am sitting by the side of a writer whose pratibhe is Himalaya solution. I heard a word, asakti. Yes, I have asakti for literature and Bhyrappa's literature. Also, I agree with the word Chumbaka Shakti of the writing of Bhyrappa. And whatever I am going to say is just a drop of the ocean only. Because within 20 lectures also, it is not possible to talk about the genius of Bhyrappa, but I am going to try whatever I can catch. So, first of all, I want to use one Kannada word for his literature, Daitya Pratibhe. Excellent expression. The strength of Daitya in the Pratibhe. And that makes him universal writer. Why I chose that title for whatever I am going to say is, I have been teaching English literature for more than 40 years. And English literature, of course, has the translations of other literatures, like world literature, maybe Goethe, maybe Dostoevsky, and so many. Of course, Shakespeare is my favorite one. And from all that, whatever I could grasp, whatever I could catch and understand, I find that they belong not to a country, not to one community, society, not to one language, but they are like the citizen of the world, like that writer of the world, not writer of one or the other state or country. And I have firm belief that Bhyrappa also is belonging to the world literature. Now, why I say that? I will say, as I said, only something like a drop of the ocean. First of all, you know, whenever a writer writes, there are circles. Like first circle is region. He is writing about some region. Then, if he is strong, he crosses that circle and goes to the nation. Second, bigger, wider circle. He becomes not a regional writer, but a national writer. And still he crosses that boundary, and then he belongs to the whole world, like we say, universe. And I see in Bhyrappa's novels, whichever are translated in Marathi, I am not as fortunate as to read the original Kannada writing. But in even my friend Uma's translations, I could see the power, the strength of Bhyrappa's style. So I see in that the element of the universal writing. Now, I think the first thing that a universal writer shows is universal themes. And we can see the universal themes in his writing. But before that, themes may be universal, but they are not. Actually, when the writer is writing, he is writing about something around him. His own shadow falls on the paper on which he is writing. But he becomes universal when he takes those regional things, and especially about Karnataka side, then take those things to the national and universal level. Like the theme of war. So many people have written. In English, there is a big volume of war poetry, and yet it may not be universal. In the sense, you have to show, express ably the effects, the causes, circumstances, characters, everything of war. And that is done by Bhyrappa in his Parva. Now you can look at Parva as the, say, interpretation of Mahabharata. You can say it is a replica of the Mahabharata. But what he does is he looks at it rationally. He allows no miracles. He allows no aura. And yet he gives us the core of the Mahabharata. And I have read the book of Vijaya Haran, Giant Geniuses. In that, one translator, I have read all the 576 pages of that book. One translator has said there, even if Vyasa would have come, he would have agreed with Bhyrappa. I agree with that translator. Really, the core of what Vyasa would have said. For my humble thesis, I read the Mahabharata from cover to cover. And I also see Vyasa was rational. He was not like putting miracles in that. That is done by the other people who added to it. That's why I say Vyasa and Bhyrappa, they agree with each other. And Parva goes to the level of epic novel. You know, epics have already stopped to be written, but that place is taken by novels. And the writers like Bhyrappa, when they write novels, actually they are writing epics. Now there is no time to explain Parva more, but I take the other novel, Vanshavriksha. Now, apparently it is a novel about remarriage of widows. Somebody would have stopped there. In Marathi also there is one novel on that topic like Pandakshat Panditu. But all the aspects of that issue are not taken into account even in that Marathi novel. Bhyrappa brings in that novel not only the remarriage, not only the effects of the tradition on the woman, but he takes into account what the father-in-law thinks. How can there be types of marriages? I feel the marriage of Karuna and Sadashivrao, isn't it something precedent of today's living? In a way, it is living relationship based on the intellectual concerns, and that he has written in the 60s. And I think he was not even 35. To write such a novel at such an age, show me any writer in the world with that. So many aspects like society, marriage, and one more thing. Why I admire him more, being a woman, and also considering, I think there was some storm in Karnataka about the novel Kavalu. I pity those who are criticizing Kavalu. In all his novels, each and every novel, he shows directly or indirectly, mostly indirectly, his sympathy, understanding about the character of woman. I am grateful to him for that. For womankind, the great writers do not support the rallies or write feminist articles and all that. This is the right way to show your sympathy and understanding of womankind. And that is seen most in the novel Datu. Now Datu about Dalit Samasya. In Marathi also, rather we are proud that first Dalit literature was introduced in Marathi. But in Marathi, the Dalit writers have written their own individual grievances, suffering. They are genuine and we of course are sorry for that. But after they write about their suffering, what next? What next is shown by Bhyrappa in Marathi? To go to the bottom of that issue, that problem. He goes into the history of that issue. He shows what was there in the past. He shows what is in the present. Present in the sense how that issue is being exploited by the politicians. That also he shows. And he has, of course, full understanding and sympathy about the Dalit people. Now, another novel, Mandra, and very rightly, now it is platitude to say that very rightly, he has received the Saraswati Award. Now, that novel, only for that novel you have to give 4 or 5 hours to talk about it. Apparently it is just a story of a musician. But how many facets are shown there? A musician, an artist. So the triangle of art, artist and the man. This triangle is handled in such a way by Dr. Bhyrappa that we are really amazed. And as his every novel shows, for every novel he works so hard that not an iota of factual fault should be there. You know, for Parva, how he traversed the Himalayas. For Tantu, he traveled to America. For every novel he has taken that trouble. Now that Tabaliyu Ninade, I am pronouncing it right. So in that novel, he shows Tayawa, she is dumb, not deaf. And somebody from Bangalore, he said, objected, if she is dumb, she must be deaf. Then Bhyrappa told him, you consult some ENT. And then that fellow consulted and he was told, yes, it is possible. It is rare, but it is possible. And in that case, that person, though not deaf, is intellectually or mentally somewhat retarded. And actually he has shown Tayuga to be somewhat retarded. He takes care of each and every detail. And I was told that in the novel Mandra, he had written, there was a concert of 200 plus audience, musical concert. And after that, it was in Villa College, he wrote. And then he had the question in the mind, does the Villa College actually have such an auditorium as big as to consist of 200? And he was restless. When he confirmed, yes, the auditorium is so big, then he was satisfied. I just give 2-3 examples for every novel. He has taken that trouble. That is the responsibility of even a common ordinary writer. But a universal writer doesn't take anything for granted. He has to satisfy the critic and the reader. Here, critic and the reader, again, I think of the book Namma Bhyrappa. So, we Marathi people also say not belonging to Karnataka, but Namma Bhyrappa. He is our writer. He is our writer because he has given us such a great, the pleasure that you get from great literature is told to be Brahmananda Sahodara. And such a pleasure is given to us. So there is no question of my mother tongue is Marathi and Kannada is not my mother tongue. Such thought cannot enter the mind of any true reader. And true readers are there for Bhyrappa among the critics and among the common people. Here again I remember Shakespeare. Shakespeare was very fortunate. When he was writing, he was popular, but only in England. After that, he became translated in so many languages of the world. Much credit goes to the empire of England. Had it not been for the empire, we doubt whether he would have been translated in so many languages and he would have been universal writer. For Bhyrappa, I think there have not been many translators from other countries. His translations have reached only Chinese and Russian. But I am sure that if these translations go to other countries, definitely Nobel Prize will come to him. With that, whatever scanty or what knowledge of the world literature, I really believe that he deserves Nobel Prize. One or two examples and then I will stop. Grahabhanga, again a universal theme. Farmer's plight, woman's plight. Then I remember the novel of Pearl Buck, The Good Earth. There the heroine, a farmer woman, how she toils, how she suffers, tragic situations she has to face. Oh Lan, the Chinese woman. The Good Earth is about Chinese life. And that Oh Lan, the Chinese farmer woman, she suffers so much and got Nobel Prize. And is the heroine of Grahabhanga less than Oh Lan? She is not. Nor even the depiction of the Chinese life of a farmer and the life in Grahabhanga, it is not less. But again, that's what. It is not translated in those languages. Another example, W. Meena Devi. Now, actually, apparently it seems that the subject is cow slaughter and all that. Does it stop there? No. Cow slaughter, yes, it is the topic of the novel, but it goes much more ahead. It is not an invasion just for a cow, but it is an invasion on a culture, your culture. Now, this is the type or sort of a culture. Who are you to attack it and say that it is not worth it? Who are you? Now I remember the novel of Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. In that, it is shown Igbo people, their culture is attacked by the Christians and that culture is almost destroyed. Now, Achebe has taken there Umuofia and he says this can be the imaginary, but this can be the title of any state. Bhyrappa also says Karenhalli may be the name of any city, state, etc. And Chinua Achebe did not get Nobel Prize just like 1 or 2 marks, he lost it. But he went up to nomination of Nobel. Then why not Bhyrappa? That question I always ask myself, and again once I had asked him also. When V.S. Naipaul got the Nobel Prize, I thought, Naipaul, I do not sincerely think that he deserves Nobel Prize. This is not diminishing his qualities, but Nobel, universal writers, he should get it. Then he had said at that time again the same thing, like the translations. But then he said, and what he said makes him the real universal writer. He said, I do not waste my time in thinking about that. That is the really universal writer. That is the spirit. I think my time limit. Yeah. So, very sadly I have to conclude because good, she told me 20 minutes, otherwise when I start speaking about Bhyrappa, somebody has to tell me stop. So, I have told myself, but my last words are, he is really a universal writer, and we hope that though Nobel Prize is nothing considering the love, appreciation, admiration, reverence of each and every Indian, because it is translated overall India. Still, someday, if he really receives the Nobel Prize, we will be very happy. And I wish that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was so fluent, so warm, and in fact, we would like to listen to you for hours. You said you want to speak to hours. We also would like to listen to you for hours. And the way you are pronouncing all the names in the novel, the names of the novel and the places in the novel, it shows how much commitment you have to this talk. And we are all really delighted. In fact, we were thinking, myself and Upadhyaya sir, it is a Kannada function and then madam will have to speak in English about our audience, whether they will be liking it. But then you are more than successful in keeping the attention of all of us. It was as good as reading Bhyrappaji's novels. We are really very happy and we are grateful to you, madam, for having come here and shared your views with us. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ವಿಷಯ ನಾನು ಸಣ್ಣ ವಿಷಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿಷಯ